I'm still drained from the Argentina game.
Well, we would.
Mate, I was going to go to Elephant and Castle, but I couldn't get out of my bed after watching Argentina in bed. I was like, I'm drained, I'm stressed from watching that game. Anxiety. Obviously, big Messi fan. Happy for him to go through. Wow. Over to you, Jeff.
No, I couldn't agree more. And you saw the pictures of Messi in tears at the end. The truth is, I thought the truth of that game was that Egypt. How do I put this without being condescending? Egypt, by their own standards, brilliant. Defended. Yep. I mean, I don't know what the Egyptian is for lump it boys, but they got rid whenever they could get rid. They had one touch in the Portugal box in the first half, and that was the goal.
Argentina box, yeah.
The Argentina box, I beg your pardon. Thanks, Gabby. And that was the goal. So, and in the second half, they had a couple of wonderful
counter-attacks
moments.
Hussein was very good, wasn't he?
Oh,
he had the 20 minutes of his life, didn't he?
Agents will be queuing up outside his door this morning. I mean, he plays in the second division in Spain. You know,
game changed as well when you come off.
Yeah, absolutely, because he was a massive threat going forward. He's brilliant, but the Egyptians afterwards were shouting "fix."
No,
not for me.
I was confused. All the outrage.
Yeah,
I don't think it was 2 fouls that they're saying weren't given. I don't think they were fouls.
No, I didn't.
McAllister on the heads, and then the Salah one. I didn't think they were both fouls. I feel like the Sandro Martinez, there was 2 fouls. There was a shirt pull, but it was more for me. If you look at it closely, it gets caught on his right, like sort of Achilles.
Yeah,
so there was like 2 fouls on Sandro Martinez.
From a footballing perspective, you didn't want that Egyptian goal to be ruled out because it was brilliant. But I saw why it was. I thought the McAllister, contact was fleeting with the Egyptian inside the box, who was nowhere near the ball either.
Salah either.
And Salah was Salah was looking for it.
Exactly.
Don't blame him, but I thought he was looking for it. And Egypt should look at themselves. They're 2-0 up. Yeah. They're 11 or 12 minutes away. Well, a bit more than that with added time. They had an unbelievable opportunity.
Yeah.
And they just...
You've got to hang on, haven't you?
Grasp it.
I'm sorry, though, Jeff. Like, watching the game, mate, this is the difference when people try and compare Messi and Ronaldo. It's not about Ronaldo, but in one of his quietest games, he still turns up, Lionel Messi. Yeah. Very quiet first half. When his country, his nation needs him, forget about the penalty miss. Anyone can miss penalties. He turned up, gets on the ball, gets the first assist for Romero. And then if you look at the second goal, Jeff, he's literally, I've seen the close-up clip, he's screaming for the ball, give it me, crosses one, blocked, crosses it again. And that finish, do you know how hard that finish is, Jeff? That is not an easy finish. To keep that down, to even relax and not just come sprinting forward like most players were. Honestly, this guy, no words for him. And even forget the goal and assist. How many little runs did he have second half where he's like, okay, I've got to do this for my country. Incredible player.
But I think you're right. He was nowhere near his best.
No.
And if I'm Lionel Scaloni, I don't care whether he's Messi. I'm saying you're not taking penalties. No more penalties. His record wasn't great coming into this tournament. And now when you've missed 2 in a row, he's got to have the cojones that Roberto Martinez didn't have.
Yeah.
And say to Messi,
missed 4 out of 8, hasn't he? In the World Cup?
Too many, and they've got penalty takers. McAllister's a good penalty taker. They've got penalty takers. So, but look, it was a breathtaking, wonderful, wonderful game. And by the way, the winning goal, it's a fantastic break, a wonderful cross, and what a header it was!
Incredible, yes,
as well, guided directly into the corner.
Not easy.
It wasn't easy.
Not easy at all.
Enzo Fernandez was the man who won it. Let's hear how that moment sounded on talkSPORT.
Lautaro Martinez is upfield, away on the right-hand side. He's got 2 racing forward to join it. One of them is Martinez, and Enzo Fernandez! Oh, yes! Argentina have done it in stoppage time! Enzo Fernandez with the crowning glory for Argentina. It feels like they've won the tournament already. Enzo Fernandez at the back post with the header, and Argentina just will not lie down.
I mean, it was an amazing comeback, and there was some great descriptions of Argentina afterwards. Roy Keane called them street fighters. Yes. Gary Neville says they have an indestructible spirit. But you know what? After 78 minutes, England were heading to a potential semi-final if they can beat Norway. Potential semi-final against Egypt or Switzerland.
Yes.
Wow.
Incredible though, isn't it? Yeah. But I think we have to give Egypt credit and some of the teams in this tournament, Jeff, the way they are defending, because they look so organised, Egypt.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't just say like, oh yeah, everyone behind the ball and we try. They were pressing at the right times. They weren't sat on the edge of their box. When the ball comes to a certain point, they're all pressing, fighting for their lives. They were a bit dirty at times as well, in a good way. So, Egypt, I thought they should be proud of their performance. Africa should be proud of the Egyptians' performance. But to concede 3 goals in the 79th minute, 83rd minute and 93rd minute, 40-minute 3 goals just shows what this Argentina side are made of.
Yeah.
But we'll come on to the negatives later on. Lisandro Martinez, very poor performance. The first goal, he's got to do better. You know, we talk about his height, and that's somewhere where if you're Switzerland or if you're England in the semi-final, you target him. And then the second goal, daydreaming, not looking at who's in the box as a defender. So I thought his performance wasn't great, and you can get at this Argentinian team, Jeff, defensively. They lack pace.
Neil in Wigan says Egypt would have won that game if their keeper didn't have biscuit wrists. Well, he had a great first half. He was absolutely outstanding, and then there's argument that he certainly could have saved at least one of the goals. But look, you know, the Egyptians are unhappy. A bit of controversy around that victory. For all of the fallout, head over to the talkSPORT Daily, where Joe Shannon and Mark McGee will discuss the controversy of VAR.
You know, how far back do you rewind it? Practically every, goal you could if you keep rewinding it, you'll come to a point somewhere that maybe 15 minutes earlier, but there'll be a point where there was a transgression that wasn't pulled up, and what do you cancel the goal then? It's getting ridiculous. And then what happened, of course, was they took the ball all the way back. The pitch will be, I don't know what the official size of the pitch is, probably 112 yards, something like that, maybe 114 yards, and they took it back 100 yards. It was like 10 yards from the touchline where the free kick, and Argentina could have scored from there. So it was like it could have been a complete turnaround.
Yeah, what do you think of that, Gabby? Because my view is I disagree as well.
Yeah, Lisandro Martinez gets fouled, and then they go straight and score on the counter attack. Yeah. It doesn't matter, like if it was 30 seconds, 50 seconds, it's the same move.
Yeah, so it's that same phase of the game.
Exactly. Right, if Lisandro Martinez wasn't fouled, they wouldn't have scored. So as much as people might say, oh, it's corruption, it's this and that, no, it's not. It was the right decisions from a strong referee, I thought, all night.
Yeah, completely agree. Argentina, look, I mean, every Englishman will have wished that Egypt would win that, that's for sure. But Argentina have come through against the odds. What did you think of the incidents that defined the game at the end? Do you think it should have been pulled back for a foul to Argentina there, and that goal disallowed for Egypt? I'm not sure it made any actual difference in the end, because Egypt went on and scored their second goal anyway. Exactly. And did the Egyptians have a case that the Argentina winner should have been ruled out? Not for me, but you may well disagree. We're taking your calls all morning.
So the back page is obviously lots of coverage of Messi and Argentina, sort of focus on how close Argentina were to going out, and it was a rescue mission, and also a focus on Messi's tears. So the star, Messi's rescue mission, Lionel Messi dragged Argentina into the World Cup quarterfinals. The Times, Messi's tears of joy. The Sun have gone for the obvious one, don't cry for me, Argentina. Daily Express, all's well that ends well, ends for Enzo Fernandez. Of course, Messi miracle in the Daily Telegraph. How do we feel about watching Messi cry on the pitch? Are we overly cynical, or did that make you feel emotional?
No, cynical at all. That's real emotion of someone that missed the penalty, thought they was going to go out of the World Cup. They want to retain the World Cup, defend it. That was just proper emotion. That is an emotion that some people do for the cameras and play to the cameras. That was like relief. I love my country. I want to win this World Cup again. And I was nearly out. And he'll be afterwards thinking like, okay, we need to liven up now, because that was too close to comfort.
Did you ever cry on the pitch, Gabby, during your playing career? Anything make you cry?
Few of the fans watching him did.
Yeah. The abuse I got, maybe of fans, maybe. No, never.
Never cried.
When Messi does that, I was like emotional for him because he's won it all.
So it's Argentina against Switzerland, 2 a.m. this Sunday.
No problem.
Live on talkSPORT. Let's cross over to live to Brazil now. And South American football expert John Cottrell. Morning, John.
Morning, John.
Good morning.
Wow.
Look, let's talk Argentina for a moment or two. I didn't think it was Messi's best game by a long way. But as soon as he starts to play, Argentina play.
Yeah, it was a great escape, isn't it? Really, they left it a little late. Was it 11 minutes to go when they were trailing by 2 goals down? And the punter, was it Steve, put his money on, or so he says, and earned himself just a nice little payoff in the end. But yeah, they rocked. They were going out, weren't they, Argentina? And suddenly Messi inspired. He gets a cross in for the first goal, and then scores that fabulous kind of half volley, and Argentina on the way with that wonderful cross delivery from the right-hand side, which is nodded in by Fernandes, just to put them on the way into the semi-finals. So, yeah, terrific quarterfinals even.
Even before the assist and the goal, Messi he got into the game, didn't he? He started taking his players on that right-hand side, and the chance for Lautaro Martinez where he goes on that mazy run, Messi. That's what a 39-year-old can still do because of the quality that he's got. But do you worry about Argentina going forward defensively? Because I thought Lisandro Martinez was shaky for both goals.
Yeah, he was. He was at fault, wasn't he, for the first goal? Yeah. The ball just knocked into the air. He just beaten so easily in the air. Whether or not he didn't make the leap for me. So perhaps he wasn't quite switched on. But Argentina, we know they can score, but we know also that they're very, very vulnerable to goals as well. So it was shaky. And Messi did strike the post with a free kick, kissed the upright as well early on in that game. So, yeah, he wasn't at his best, but when he had to produce, he produced in the end. And Argentina got through, but only just.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking a moment or two ago, John, and saying, well, Argentina weren't at their best, but who has been at their best throughout the tournament so far? And one thing about Argentina, Gary Neville said it last night, they have an indestructible spirit. They relish playing for that shirt.
They do indeed. The travelling fans, they're very, very different as well from the Brazil travelling fans. Many of the Brazilians live in the US. That's one factor. It's a different kind of fan, often labelled as football tourists, I'm afraid, because the fans who go watch Brazil when they're playing in these kind of tournaments are very different from the fans who watch them in the domestic tournaments. But the Argentina fans, you get the impression that these guys and girls, these are the ones who travel up, these are the ones who drive up from Argentina when they're playing in Brazil or also in South America. So they're there in their thousands, quite literally. I'm sure thousands travelled without tickets as well. So it's a different set, but they do believe.
I think as well, when you look at the performance from Argentina, even when Lautaro Martinez comes on, I thought Alvarez as well, the work rate, Enzo Fernandez, how difficult that header was, sprinting the length of the pitch to get in the box, the cross from Lautaro Martinez. That fighting spirit, even if you are weak defensively, that can be enough, can't it, to go and win the World Cup again?
Yeah, the old expression, we're going to score more than you. So it's great to watch. They play some games, but again, Cape Verde in the last round and Egypt in this round. With respect to those two sides, teams which Argentina were expected to railroad over didn't happen. So I wonder what's going to happen in the next phase as well when they come up against the Swiss.
Well, look, I mean, I'll tell you what, it was after the Lord Mayor's show, wasn't it, big time when we got to Switzerland against Colombia. And the Colombians have gone out. And I just wonder whether ultimately fear of losing cost them that game.
No, I think for me it was fear of scoring. They couldn't score, basically. They scored, was it 5 goals in this tournament? 3 of them were against Uzbekistan. Scoring was always a problem for Colombia, even though they did pretty well inside the South American qualifiers. They just couldn't score. They had the chances. They had, some good chances. to put this game to bed against the Swiss, but they couldn't manage it, and that's what ultimately caused them in the end. It was a game, it was a competitive game. It wasn't the same level as the Argentina-Egypt game, but it was full of huff and puff and energy and determination, but the lack of goals was the problem for the Colombians.
I do think it's going to be tough for Argentina as well, though, because I watched the game and Switzerland organised defensively. I thought Akanji was excellent. I thought Xhaka in the midfield as well. Even Embolo up front was holding the ball up. They made it difficult for Colombia, didn't they?
They did indeed, and they were missing that Johan Manzabi as well, who was injured, the 20-year-old. So I'm not sure if he's going to be fit for the next game, but if he's fit, then Switzerland could pose a threat. Yeah. I was talking to colleagues down in Buenos Aires, and they were kind of happy that they're not playing Colombia because they feel that Colombia knows them a bit better. Yes. Whereas Switzerland is more of a dark horse, but, it's been a while, isn't it? 1954 since Switzerland have been at this stage in the competition. That was at home in the World Cup and was only 16 teams. So Switzerland, who knows what's going to happen with them.
Okay. John, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you, John.
Pleasure.
South American football expert John Cottrell there. Argentina left flying the South American flag.
I know.
Let's take a quick call from one John to another. John's a Manchester United fan. He wants to chat Argentina. Morning to you, John.
Morning, John.
Morning, Gabby. Morning, Jeff.
Yeah, enjoy the game?
I thought the game was brilliant. I've got two different looks at the thing. The first thing was the game was won and lost on Egypt's own bad play as well as good play, with the goalkeeper was a shambles for the whole 3 goals. And I just think that they could have won it, but they also had to fight against the refereeing decisions and VAR. Now, if you look at Argentina's whole games throughout the whole tournament, them plus 2 other teams are the only teams that's had 3 yellow cards. That's all they've had. We're talking about Argentina here. Now, you can look at this in a way of, are they getting refereeing decisions and help with VAR as well? Because last night, there was 3 tackles where at least 3 Argentinian players should have been yellow carded. Tagliafico going through the back of Zico, and you look at the Declan Rice one after 6 minutes and think, what's going on here? And then also the VAR, one of the VAR decisions that they didn't get, which McAllister brought down an Egyptian player which was off the ball, which, VAR chose not to look at and they should have, which I just think VAR are pick and choosing when they get involved, as well as I think Argentina.
I think you're searching for it, John. I feel like you're searching for excuses for Argentina not to go through.
John, it's a terrible line, so we're going to have to leave it there. But do appreciate the call. I think that was in the Premier League, by the way. The McAllister stuff, they would call that fleeting contact.
Yeah, it's not. It
fleeting contact.
Well. I think it's harsh as well with the goalkeeper, because the first goal, yes, the second goal, like Messi's half volleyed it.
I think he got a hand to it, which made people think.
Yeah, but with that power from so close, that's a difficult save. You can't. And the third goal, how's he meant to save that?
No goalkeeper's getting anywhere near
the
that.
First one only for me. You can't blame the keeper, especially after the penalty save, the save from Alvarez in the first half as well. So he made some fantastic saves.
Yeah, he did. I thought maybe he's got his hands to the Messi goal. Maybe he could have done a little better that, but it was hit, with such venom and taken so quickly as well. I understood why he didn't save it.